Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So no camera today. What we're going to do today is I'm just going to walk through theming Linux Mint Cinnamon. This is kind of for anyone new to Linux and wanting to look at getting a good system put together for your home work. And this system here, it's just I needed to install this back onto the VirtualBox. And so let's just go ahead and talk about what you might want to do. So I've installed it. I've not updated it. I did add two applications, which I was doing some brief testing on, but those shouldn't interfere with anything we do. Of course, and the other thing that I did is I got rid of the welcome screen. So when you first boot up Linux Mint Cinnamon, you're going to get this screen right here. And this screen here, what I did is this is pre-checked when you first boot up the computer, and I just went ahead and just unchecked that. Now, of course, what you might need to do is you might want to push on your drivers list the first time, enter your administrator password that you would have set up, and what this is going to do is it's going to scan your computer for any proprietary drivers. This is one of the biggest things that might happen on current versions of Linux Mint Cinnamon is that it may not spot your wireless cards without running this. And so here, I have the option to turn on the proprietary guest editions. I'm currently using whatever was pre-installed in the system, and that's working just fine. I could choose to do this. I also have a microcode proprietary driver for the AMD computer here, which I can use or I might not. What you might encounter if you are using particularly a lower end, more modern laptop is you might have a Broadcom wireless card, and in that case, it will not install the Broadcom driver because it is a proprietary driver. And if you don't know what that means, that just means that we cannot audit the source code, and that's why it's not installed in the system by default. What I usually do is if you can either get a USB wireless card or if you have a smartphone and you can bridge or share the internet, either usually you'd have to, in that case, share the internet with either Bluetooth or with plugging the phone directly into the computer. Modern smartphones will enable you to share the internet those ways. Share the internet, jump onto this driver manager. You should see a Broadcom proprietary driver. Click on the button and push apply changes. I'm not going to go ahead and apply the changes to the microcode. I'm not going to worry about it. Just to know that that's how you do it. Over here are your apps. This version of Linux Mint Cinnamon has a very, very well redesigned system. Of course, we have Calibri as an ebook management library system. Here's Skype, Blender, Dropbox, WhatsApp, Steam, Minecraft. That's kind of cool. That's there by default. And so you have all of these various options inside of the system by default. And we have Flatpak here, which will give you more applications, Spotify client, Discord client, things like that. And so you can look for any type of software that you want. Of course, these are your options here. And this search engine's pretty cool. So if you're looking for a web browser, just type in browser. And the search function on this is really good at identifying what is a different browser. Of course, this one shows up because it's an image and viewer and browser. But we have Chromium, we have Midori, there's the Epiphany, Lynx, Koopzilla, Aurora. I think that's for music collections. So you can see Conqueror. There's a lot of different browsers in here. Some of them are better than others for sure. And so you can just use this tool and get in there and search for anything. There's documentation, new features, forums, chat rooms, getting involved. So that's what's inside of the welcome screen. So what we're going to do here, though, is, first let's go ahead and just have a look at the updates. So down here at the updates, when you first load up the computer, you're going to want to come down here and select these options. Now, some people have criticized this manager. I think that this is a great option. Okay, so let me walk through what these are. Just keep my computer safe is if you are like a computer, where's the power button person, you might want to use this. What this does is there are a series of different types of updates you could get. You could get a basic security update. You could get a version change update. You could get a full kernel and system update. A full kernel and system update, it is possible to mess up your computer. That will be installed by default if you go ahead and select the last option. This option here, recommended for most users. It will install your security updates. It installs other updates that are not necessarily security, but have a little bit more to them than just pure security, but not quite complete version changes, things like that. So this is the one I usually use, mostly because for my video production computers or full web design production computers, I never want it to automatically install new kernels or anything that could break the system, because I can't afford necessarily to have a system down for a few days. Now, at the beginning of a time when I know my workload is going to be a little bit slower, I'm going to go ahead and manually update all these, and I'll show you exactly how to do those. And that way I know that since workload is a little bit lighter, if something does go wrong, I'll have time to fix it. So we'll just go ahead and select the middle option there. And what this is going to do is, first it's going to do update your Mint update information and things. You will also notice this blue bar here. We're going to go ahead and click this first. This switches to a local mirror. So what this means is there are a lot of different places around the world where your main packages are restored. So this is how Linux installs the applications. When you go into that software manager that we were looking at, the software manager looks in these locations to determine what packages are available. Now, it might detect some things automatically. What you'll see is you'll have your main Sylvia. This is your Mint packages, and your base, these are your Ubuntu packages, because Linux Mint is built on top of Ubuntu. So click on each one of these, and what it's going to do is it's going to do a test to see which servers are quicker. Generally, you might want to pick a quicker service unless you have a reason not to. You might see something like, I never really use advancedhosters.com. I don't know why. So you'll see that some of these, like Harvard School of Engineering, for some reason is very slow. I have no idea why. But you'll see what we're getting here is we're getting a lot of different options to pick from. You might pick one specifically you're interested in, or you might just go to the top of the list and pick the fastest one. Obviously, the fastest one is going to get you your downloads quicker. This one here is a content delivery network. Let's just go ahead and select that. So now we're going to be getting our updates from there. And then, of course, our base, by the default there, is a UK-based one. So I'm probably going to want to switch that one for sure. My guess is something in the United States or another CDN is going to be better than the UK ones. You can see that there are a lot. This is because this is feeding us Ubuntu packages, and so we're just going to look for something that's pretty quick. You'll see there that some of these are unreachable, meaning it's just not able to access it. There's a 4.5. I usually pick the university ones. So there's Virginia Tech right there. That's what that one's from, Clarkson EDU. So we're going to go ahead and pick this guy up here because it's, pretty quick. So now we have local packages. We're going to go ahead and update the cache. This is now going to go into both of those locations and update all of our package cache. The package cache determines what packages are available. You'll have the ability here to add PPAs. These are specific to Ubuntu, where there are just certain ways of packaging your applications. We have additional repositories, authentication keys, and things. These are the ones for the Brave browser. That's one of the applications I was doing a couple quick testing on. So that's how those are set up. And of course, I could delete those at any time. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and push the install updates. We're going to need to enter our password again. It's going to do these two updates, and this is going to give us, once it does this, it's going to give us a whole lot more items. And this is kind of where I'm going to be able to show you what those differences in those updates did. All right, so here is a whole list. You can see everything is on a 1, 2, and it goes all the way up to a 5 level. I don't see any 5s listed here right now, mostly because this is a kind of a brand new install. if you selected that third option, update everything, then everything by default is auto-checked. If you go with just the simple ones, only items marked as number 1 and I believe number 2 are checked. The middle option gives you also the checking the number 3 items and some of your number 4 items. That's all it does. And that is why it is ludicrous that some people are against this way of doing updates. All this means is it pre-selects which updates. If I want to do a level 5 update everything, I can just come down here, select all, and push update. No problem there. Now, let's talk about some of these that are not selected. Cinnamon, Nemo, these things are not selected because the Cinnamon environment is the core environment how the system works. If something goes wrong in that update, your system will only boot into a terminal. And if you're not used to Linux, that could be traumatizing. That's why that is not selected by default in the middle option, because it has the potential. Now, I'm not saying it's going to. Chances are very slim that it would actually break something that bad. But if the update were interrupted or something goes goofy or whatever else, that's a possibility. In which case you'd have to go back and probably look up how to fix it. Should be easy to find, but regardless, that's what it is. We're going to go ahead and push install updates. I'm going to let that kind of do its thing. It's going to give us some packages, what's going to go on. That's fine. We're going to need to enter our password again. And now I'm just going to kind of minimize that and let that do its thing. I guess it's updating first. You can see in Linux Mint 18.3, they added this very nice status bar. I love that status bar. I can now see how well things are going at a quick glance. Right now it's downloading, just a few seconds left, and then it's actually going to give us the downloading next. So here it's applying the changes. We're going to go ahead and minimize that. We'll be able to check the status of that as it's going. Well, that's doing that. We're going to go ahead and have a look at some other things. So inside of your menu, the next thing you're going to want to go to is spend some time in your system settings. So inside your system settings, you can do everything from your backgrounds. Of course, you can get to your backgrounds by right-clicking the desktop as well, just as any other desktop might be. So here we have a few different options to choose from in the basic Linux Mint if you want to display the Linux Mint. And then there's a variety of different things. This is what's really nice about Linux Mint Cinnamon is it does give us a whole lot of very beautiful pictures to choose from. So there's probably something in there. There's some nature scenes. There's probably some more, lot more nature scenes, I think, than most other places. This is a nice one. I ran this on one of my computers for a while. I believe there's some more civilized ones as well somewhere, but maybe not. This one's a beautiful one. Look at that. Very nice photos here. I guess we didn't have too many from the civilized world, a couple of them, but all right, let's just go ahead and stick with that for now. Under your settings, you can play this as a slideshow, in which case every 15 minutes or so you're going to get a nice different picture. This is actually how I have all my systems set up. On my main video production one, I have 3 very nice scrolling images. They're all Linux based. On my production computer, I actually just have a series of photos I've snapped from vacationing around. We can set the delay. We can play the images in a random order, but the default is going kind of in order. And then here we can do a variety of different options. Oh, I should also mention, you can come down here, this will go into your pictures file, or you can select a specific option. So I have inside my pictures file, I have a list of all the desktop images, and anything I want to add to that desktop image, I just drag it into that file. So you can go ahead and add a new file there if you don't want to use the basic system ones. For effects, these are all turned on. These are just kind of your nice animation effects. As you can see, there's some animations going up and down as you move things around. You can customize some of these guys, easing in, easing out things, closing windows, minimizing. So it's kind of quick. Let's just go ahead and up that to 3000 just to show you what we mean here. And I think I have to close out of there. Maybe I'm forgetting something in there. Maybe not. I thought that was going to be able to give me a little bit better transition there, but oh well. We can play with that another time. If you do want to change your system fonts, you can come over here. You can change the system fonts. You can also change the text scaling. Let's go ahead and increase the font scaling on these for now. Of course, that's too big. Let's go with about 1.1. Okay, there's 1.1, makes it a little bit bigger. Let's go with 1.2. I'm just trying to get something that's a little bit bigger. So this is how to scaling the whole fonts. These are actually what is the font numbers. So I can also increase the font numbers on everything as well. As far as your themes, this is a place I like to spend a little bit of time. Okay, it looks like everything is done there, so we're just going to go ahead and close that. Updates are done. So here under your themes, you have a lot of different options here. So we have a few different choices to pick from by default. Some are kind of newer looking, some are kind of older looking. So there's a variety of different themes. And then some of the themes that you could download, you will actually add to these. And these are actually customizable. We have here a variety of different colors. And then we have the GNOME high contrast and Adwaita theme colors, mouse pointers. We have these. And then under your basic themes, we have a variety of different adjustments here. So these will give us, there's not a whole ton that are really beautiful. These are all pretty much the same, just a different accent color. And all of these different accent colors, you actually have all of everything you need to match everything together. So you have the ability to do that. Let's grab something like this. So this is a way that you could get the system consistently any coloration you want. I like either the cinnamon one because I like that faint transparencies, and I think Linux Mint one might also give you some transparency. Linux Mint one looks like the one I think I usually use. A little bit of transparency on your panel, a little bit of transparency on your window, just the type of style that I like. Of course, if you like the modern flat UI designs, you probably want to pick like the Mint Wide Dark as a more modern flat design. So if that's your thing, you can do that. And then, of course, there is a lighter version of it as well. Now, the thing is, though, is that under Add Remove, you can actually come in here and you can add more themes to the system. And there's other places you can download them in which you would just install them under your either under your home folder or under your system folder. But you can see here there's a whole lot of different ones. So for example, my video production ones, I use the ones that are called Glass. So I use Fedora Glass on my Christian one. I use the Mint Glass on my video production one. I'm just going to go ahead and download a bunch of these. And we're just going to go ahead and have a look at some of these. So let's just go ahead and get rid of... I'm going to download enough that hopefully we get some that will also give us new corners and things. So you see there's a bunch of the Glass ones. Those will give us the colors, like the Glass Ubuntu will give us, that'll give us like an orange type glass. The Mint Glass gives us a green. Fedora Glass gives us a blue, kind of to match those things. So just come over here and play with a lot of these. You can uninstall the ones you don't need later. Here's an XP version. This red one looks atrocious, but let's go ahead and grab it. Okay, so there we've grabbed a lot of those. Under your settings, you can either show icons in the menu, so that are these icons over here. So if I toggle this guy off, I think I might actually have to back up and close out of here to get that to show up. There's something you might need to reboot or log out, log back in order to see that. I'm just not remembering off the top, but in fact, let's just go ahead and try that. I have the ability to do that. We're just going to go ahead and log out and log back in. Not remembering that one either. It might also, by the way, it might also be an issue with the video rendering mode since I'm in a virtual box. That very well might be my problem there. Show icon buttons, use dark theme variants, and also it could also depend on the different themes that we have. So now going over to our themes, we've downloaded a bunch of themes. This is where you will see your themes. So you'll see here that now our themes are there, and here is gives us a coloration for everything, and we might have, looks like we don't have one of those, but the red folder color will get us those. Oh yeah, see, like I said, obnoxiously red. But anyway, if you like obnoxiously red, you have that option. The graphite there. Now there's not always every theme doesn't come with these, so you might just need to figure out the types of things that you're looking at for each one. So like here's the graphite. This one just looks kind of like a standard flat theme. Here's your XP Homestead. So that theme's up very much like XP. Just trying to see if there's a... All right. So now our system very much themed up like XP. So it's a little obnoxious in that XP color. I wish I could get like the XP. I don't know. Let's see if there settings, anything there. No. I just want to see if I could change the settings, because this definitely does resemble the XP settings in your old system. Of course, it killed my wallpaper. There seems to be something wrong with that theme, that it seems to break your wallpapers. Just be aware of that. Some of the themes that you download might very well do that. Okay, so there's a nice one. This one's actually pretty nice. I really like these glass themes. They're very nice. The glass themes are nice. See here that we've got that back. All right, so there's your themes. Next thing, let's go ahead and look at, actually, let's just walk through the settings here. Accessibilities, date and time. So this is if you need to change your time codes. You can change this from 24-hour to whatever. It's loading your date, displaying the seconds, so you have a lot of variety there. I'll also note that you can change the formatting of the clock. There's a little bit more options. If you right-click the clock, you'll see here that you can choose a custom date format. If you do that, then you can actually come over here and you can actually build your own date format. So here you can select which way you want. And then let's say maybe you want it like this. Actually, that's the build your own. Okay. I think that's what we need to do for that. And then I just need to come back to my calendar and paste that. And then you'll see that it'll arrange the clock just like it was. I'm going to go back to the main default one. So take note, you can right click your clock down here, there, or change your date and time settings over here. Two different places. Desklets, these are things that will sit on top of the desktop. So everything from a digital photo frame, the clock desktop. There's a few other ones. Most of these should work at some point in time. There was a point in time when there were a few of these were not working right. You can do a Google Calendar. If you happen to use a Google Calendar, you can do that. A lot of different options to add things onto your desktop. I'll just go ahead and add this just for sake of showing you what it looks like. And then right click it, configure, and then here you just need to pick where your images are coming from. And I don't actually have any images here. I can't remember right off the top of my head where the images are coming from. And let's see. I gotta remember how to move it. That's right, just grab it. I don't use these personally, but they're very nice. Do that. And if I actually had photos in there, it would actually display some photos. So there's your desklets. You also have applets. These appear down on the panel down there at the bottom. We'll look at that when we look at the panel in general. There's our general. Desktop is another one. If you come over here to your desktop, if you want, for example, the trash can on the desktop, you can toggle that. Network on, maybe computer. I might turn that off. And then you can see the setup. Now on Linux Mint 18.3, you can also right-click the desktop. And then over here, they have auto arrange turned on. You can also turn off the auto arrange and then organize them either horizontally, vertically, things like that. The other thing that's new to 18.3, if you're used to Linux Mint and you forgot about it, online accounts has been added. Of course, if you're using any of these accounts, you can add your account to this. I generally don't like these. I do, however, have my own self-hosted OwnCloud account. So when you log your system into your OwnCloud account, what it's going to do is it's going to always give you another folder option in here under your network. It's always going to give you your access to your Nextcloud folder options right there. And that would actually allow you to use the backup tool to sync into it if you have that option turned on. Go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, preferred applications is here. Just choosing what is the preferred application for any given item. Startup applications, this will determine what is starting up. So Flatpak updates, if you want to turn that off, if you don't want to allow Flatpaks updates. Linux Mint Update Manager, turn that on, turn that off. We can turn off our Mint welcome screen there as well. I might turn off the NVIDIA support because I don't have NVIDIA on this thing. I'm using AMD processor and AMD graphics card. So those are some of the startup options you might think about doing. So there's inside your settings panel. Next, let's go ahead and have a look at our menu. So here's our basic menu setup. Over here, these are your favorites. So if you right-click something over here, actually, I think you just drag it off. Yeah, just drag it off. I thought you right-click to get rid of it. Drag it off, just grabbing it and dragging it. Of course, you can right-click a given item here and hit Add to Favorites. We'll add it to the menu. And then, of course, I can reorganize the menu there. All right. One of the things, though, you can do is if you right-click the menu and configure, you can do a lot of things down here. Custom icon, you can actually use a custom image for your icons here. Or you could actually just use custom image and delete it if you don't want any icon there at all. And you could say, you know, if you wanted to duplicate an old start, you know, there's an old start menu, you can put whatever text you want there. And then this is how you actually pull the thing up with your right-click, left-click. And then you can toggle the type of animations and things like that. So you can go ahead and turn those things on or off. As far as the menu is concerned, you can show the category icons. This is the one I was looking at. I think the menu... Oh, duh. I remember something. I was trying to show you where the menu items show icons. I think that relates to the icons here. This is where it will either show you the icons or not show you the icons. My apologies. Sometimes when you don't do this for a while, you get mixed up. So let me show you what I was trying to do again. I think it was themes, settings, show icons and menus. Turning that off, what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of the icons in your menus. Versus if we turn it on, it's going to show us now the icons in our menus. That's what that one does. My apologies. I missed that step there. But if you go into your menu, you can turn on or turn off your category icons. So now we've turned off our category icons. We can show or turn off our icons over here in the menu. We can show the favorite and quit options or hide them. So if you do not want this item over here, you can actually toggle that off there. So that turns that off. I actually like to use that a lot. And then show bookmarks in other places. So this is your places, and bookmarks could be down there as well. You also can come into and edit your menu altogether. So if, for example, I know one application I like to use is Evolution. And Evolution will show up under Office, whereas Thunderbird will show up under Internet. So I just like to put them in the same place. I think if I remember correctly, I will move Evolution over into Internet. So to do that, what you'd want to do is grab your let's see, it's got to grab my Internet option. And what I can do is if I want to put Thunderbird in both places, I can copy it from here and I can paste it into here. And so now under my menu, if I go under Internet, not sure why I have 2 under Internet now. Oh, because I must have copied it into there. Okay. And then if I wanted to remove it from Internet but only have it in Office, now I can just delete it from there, and now it will be. Oh, it should have. I think I had it selected in both places. Let me go ahead and restart. Hey, since I messed that up, let's go ahead and add a new one. I think it was highlighted in both places, and so it enabled me to do that. Let's go ahead and just add a new item, and then name. We'll do Thunderbird. And then the command, if you don't know the command for it, you might need to go search for it. And then of course over here, double click it. If it doesn't give you your icon automatically, then you need to go find your icons. There's your icons, and okay, there we go. I forgot to push the OK button there, I think the first time. So here you can just go ahead and grab the icon that you want. So now it should appear in our list there under Office. So that's how you can adjust your menu items. Now, if you want to add something to your menu, or to your quick launch bar down at the bottom, you can just go ahead and drag it down there. Let's go ahead and cancel that. So if you wanted to add your Thunderbird down to your panel, you just drag it down to the bottom, and then you can drag it wherever you want in your panel there. So there we have our panel. We have our email, our folders, our web browser. Now, adjusting your panel down here at the bottom, you want to right-click your panel, hit Modify, and now this is going to allow you to make some adjustments. So you can add a panel, you can remove the panel, you can move it. So if you happen to like the panel at the top of the screen, you can kind of move it up there to the top. You can put it at the top, you can put it at the bottom. So anything that you want to do with the panel here. So you can go, you know, the 4 corners of the screen, really. I prefer it down at the bottom. You also have the ability to add various applets to it. You can now drag and drop things around. So if I generally like to throw my my show desktop icon down to the very bottom like that. Let's go ahead and turn off the panel edit mode. So now we have this themed up the way we like it. We've moved around a few images. We've looked at how to install a couple software packages and widgets, applets, desktops, themes, icons. That's kind of your basics. So here where our system is all set up. It's kind of ready to go, and at this point in time, we can just kind of start doing whatever we want to do online or anywhere else. Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out switchtolinux.com/support for all the ways you can help support the channel. You can go down to the description down below to see the Amazon links. Will be there and on that support page. If you want to get something like a coffee cup or a travel mug, something like that, you can go to shop.switchtolinux.com. That's going to redirect you to Spreadshirt, and then you can check out Patreon, patreon.com/Tom M. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.